Good morning to everybody. שפע ברוכו והצלחה. We're in parashat Ki Tavo. כי תבוא אל הארץ אשר השם אלוקיך נותן לך נחלה וירשת וישבת בה ולקחת מראשית כל פרי האדמה אשר תביא מארצך. We're talking here about מצוות ביקורים. מצוות ביקורים, what is מצוות ביקורים? We have the guy, he's putting a seed in the land, in the earth, he's growing it, he's watering it, dealing with it, cutting it, and it takes year of work till he's got Baruch Hashem a tree and then the fruits. Says the Torah, the first fruit. What somebody, or after years, got the first fruit, what does he want to do? He wants to taste it, he wants to eat it. Says the Torah, no. The first fruit is to God. Such an unbelievable thing. What's the meaning of it? First of all, the meaning is love. Imagine to yourself that you're giving your child a present, a toy, whatever. And he wants this toy very much. And the child tells you, Father, Mother, here, you go first. What a feeling is this? This is love. This is us showing love to God. But it's more than this. The Torah tells us that we do nothing. You can think after all those years that you did something. You were the one who was growing the tree. You were the one who put the seed in the earth. You were the one who was watering, etc., etc., etc. It's my power, I did it. Says God, you do nothing. Everything is from God. And this reminds an unbelievable story I heard a few years ago. Maybe I told it to you before, but it's a brilliant story. There was this rich man, and he had a son. And the son didn't go in the right ways. He was having fun all the time, enjoying life, going to clubs, all the night going around, drinking, eating, dancing, going in a bad environment with bad friends, whatever. When the father was going to work in the morning, he was coming back from a night out. That's the way it was going. And the father didn't like it. He was spending his money and they were shouting. And one day, the shouting were coming to the other side of town. And then the son said, you know what? I don't need you. I don't need your money. I'm going. He left home with a small rucksack, put a few things in. Where did he go? He went to the park and he slept there. For a week he was sleeping in the park. After a week sleeping in the park, which was not very easy, but still, one of the friends of the father came and saw him sleeping in the park. He says, what are you doing here? And he told him the story. No, I cannot stand it anymore with my father. Hey, he's doing me this and doing that. He said, you know what? You don't have to sleep in the park. I've got a big house. I've got the basement, and the basement is organized. You can sleep there. He says, no, but I got no money to pay you for the rent. He says, no, don't pay me rent. You just help in the house, clean a little, do the garden. Okay, Baruch Hashem. So he had a place now to sleep, and he was helping in the house and doing the garden. But after a few weeks, he says, no, that's not the tachlis. That's not I have to do something better than this. Now, he was a very good baker. He used to bake cakes. Unbelievable, really, unbelievable. He had the talent for this. And there was a bakery in the end of the street. So he went to this baker and says, maybe you need a worker. And the baker told him, look at him, you know what? Just a few days ago, my helper left. Come, you replace him. And he got a nice salary. Wow. He got the job and he was doing really unbelievably good in the job. And a year afterwards says, well, it's a year later, he says, you know what? That's not a tachlis. I want to have my own business. So he took all the money he saved, not a lot, and he rented a place in, let's say he couldn't rent a place in the main road, so he rented a place in one of the side roads of town, a small place, and he was cooking. And here and there people came, but there was no turnover enough, not enough people going around. And months after months, and he lost all the money. He didn't have any money to run the business anymore. And suddenly, one day, a guy comes in and he tastes the cakes and all the things he baked there. He says, wow, she's unbelievable. This is very good. You know what? I've got an idea for you. I've got money and I like the cakes you bake and all the patisserie and whatever you have got here. Let's open together. I'll invest the money. I'll take a shop in the main street. I put everything in, you just bake. I says, okay. And we share the profit. And they did it. And after a year, Baruch Hashem, we see that business is going well. So they opened another bakery and another one. And after 3 years, he had 5 bakeries in 5 different places, good spots, and he was doing a fortune. And he had $1 million in the bank, saved. So he says, now is the time. And he writes his father, Father, you see, I don't need you anymore. I did it myself, and I've got this, and I've got $1 million in the bank. Don't need you. He gets an answer from his father, and he's saying, I have to tell you the truth, my dear son. What do you think? When you were sleeping in the park, suddenly one of my friends comes and offers you the basement in his house? I send him. Then you're looking for a job at the bakery, and bakery just 2 days before his helper left, nobody left. I told him I'm going to pay, and you go get a nice salary, and he will take you to work there. And then, when you open your own bakery, and it wasn't going, who do you think sent the guy that invested in you and opened you a bakery in the main road? It was my friend that I paid for everything. Till now I'm still paying. What an unbelievable story. We think we do. Even the charity we give. Nevertheless, all the things we've got, we did it. It's all from God, our Father in heaven. But we don't realize it. We think we did it. Like this young man. Said the Torah, which is also very important, and the end of the parashat of the Bikurim tells us the Torah. 1 minute, I'll find it. Where is it? ושמחת בכל הטוב אשר נתן לך השם אלוקיך. And you will be happy with all the good that God gave you. God gave you. We've got nothing for ourselves. Everything is from God. And this brings us when we see, when you go on with the Parsha, we see beautiful blessing, but unfortunately there are also curses. And the interesting thing is that after all those curses, and this is something we have to put in our mind, I'm going on and on, I'm not going to read what's written here, terrible things, unbelievable things. But then at the end of all those curses is written something that it's very hard to understand. Where is it? Where is it? Ubawa alecha, and all those curses will come on you and will chase you and will get you till you will be finished because you didn't listen to the voice of God to keep the mitzvahs and all the laws that He ordered you to do. And there will be as a sign in your children and in all your descendants, ad olam. Why? תחת אשר לא עבדת את השם אלוקיך בשמחה ובטוב לבב מרוב כל. Because you didn't work God with happiness and with goodness. I want to understand. What the Torah is telling us, that all those curses are going to happen if we do the mitzvahs, but we're not happy when we do the mitzvahs, then we're going to get all those curses? Why? Okay, well, I have to be happy when I do the mitzvah? What's wrong if doing the mitzvah and I'm not happy? Okay, it's not the same level, but to get cursed? I did the mitzvah. See, that's exactly the point. If we understand what's standing in front of us, if we understand what we're doing in this world, and the reward we are going to get, we have to be not happy. We have to dance from happiness. Imagine to yourself, somebody gives you a glass, looks like water, and you taste it, it's bitter. This is very nice. But gives you a glass with bitter liquid. But it tells you, when you finish the glass, you get $1 billion. Are you going to drink it? Are you? Of course you are. Are you going to be sad or happy? You're going to be happy because you know when you finish this glass, you're getting $1 billion. If we realize that everything we go here in this world, the reward is unbelievable. It's nothing to compare to $1 billion. It's much, much, much more you cannot even imagine. So when you work, when you do a mitzvah, you have to be happy. If you realize what it's all about. You have to be happy with what God gives you. Samachta b'kol hatov, as we said before. You have to be happy with everything that God gave you. You have to understand that God gives you everything. And whatever difficulties you've got in this life, it's like somebody has to build a building. And the guy tells him, every stone you put in the building, you get $1 million. How are you going to put the stones? How are you going to put them? Wow, quickly, and be very, very, how do you say, happy. That's why they say the Rav Toledano, let's tell a story about the Rav Toledano. He wanted to replace his ceramics in the living room, whatever it was, but he wanted cheap labor. So somebody told him, you go there, in Bnei Brak, there is a flat, and they're foreigner workers, Chinese, they are workers, and they will do it for very cheap. So he goes to this flat, he gets to the place is full with like a place that maybe 3 or 4 people can live, there are maybe 50 living there. Terrible conditions, unbelievable. So he asked one of the guys there, I've got a job for you, and this is, and he was, yeah, besimcha, we'll be happy to do it, but I've got a problem. The contractor that brought me here to Israel, I have to work for him till 6 o'clock. So from 6 o'clock, I will come to you, and I'll work. He says, okay, no problem. So every day this guy is Chinese coming after he's finishing his daily job, comes at 6 o'clock and he works till 12 o'clock at night. One day, the Rav Toledano couldn't resist and asked him, I want to understand, how are you doing this? How you've got the strength and in the condition you're living, I cannot understand it. And the guy looks at him and smiles. You see, in my country, I can dream on a salary like this. What I'm getting here, I am going to be a millionaire there. And if I spend here the money here, it's very expensive, everything. The money that I'm spending here, you know what I can do with it in my home? Unbelievable things. So I'm going to live and have let's say the basics of the basics. And if I get another job, I will take another job because I know that when I finish the work here, I'm going to become a very rich man in my country. Says the Rav Toledano, this is exactly this world. We've got sometimes difficulties. And sometimes we spend money on nonsense, not realizing that we're spending our time and money on nonsense, on desires, on things that are not going to be paid in the next world. Not realizing that every mitzvah we do here, the reward is incomparable to anything we understand and realize. For eternity. So, we sitting here and spending the time on nonsense? Think about this Chinese worker. He lives at the basic level, not spending anything that he doesn't need to survive, in order to get everything he can and do everything he can in order to get more and more money for when he comes back home. This is the same here. Not the same. It's much, 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 much better. If we understand and realize the reward that we're getting for every mitzvah, so when we've got difficulties and when we need to enjoy life, we'll do it in a limit. Nobody tells us to suffer. But spend your time wisely. Spend your powers in a clever way. Use it to elevate yourself. Use it to do more mitzvahs. So you can bring the bikurim. That says the Or HaChaim HaKadosh, Ki Tavo, when you come to the land that God gives you, he's talking here about the next world. When you will get to the next world, with what are you going to come there? With what you did here. The fruits of what you did here. Chas v'shalom, you come empty-handed. And now, Chodesh Elul, Chodesh Lecha v'Rachamim, how are we going to go into the next year? Have we got any fruits to show God? We still have time. We still can do unbelievable things. And this Chodesh, in this month, Chodesh Elul, God gives much more than the whole year around. So, when we realize all this, we have to dance from happiness and joy that we got the chance this month to change everything, even if we spend money and time on nonsense. And even if we had spent time on undoing the wrong in the eyes of God. God says, I wipe everything out. I want you just to change now. Change yourself. Go in the right direction. And as we said last week, Ki Tavo milchama, do the first step, and I'm going to help you. So you're not going to come empty-handed to the new year. And if we show me in this month your achievement, what you do more than normal, you will get rewarded much more. You will have a year with all the best tools you need. Because yes, what we want is the best tools. And the best tools is we want to have money. We want to have parnasa. We want to have health. We want to have kids. We want to have good families. We want to have a nice house. We want to have nice clothes. Yes, but what for? As a mean to get to the target, which is the next world. To go another step in another year, opening the gates of the new year with happiness, with joy, thanking God about everything He gave us. ושמחת בכל הטוב אשר נתן לך. In all the good that He gave us. Realizing, first of all, say thank you. Second, to understand that we do nothing. Everything God gives us. And realizing what is the important and what is less important. How important it is to understand the reward that is waiting for us in the next world. Put things in the right proportion. And then God tells us this unbelievable few psukim. Well, let me see if I find it. את השם האמרת היום להיות לך אלוקים. You will elevate God to be your God. And go in His ways and keep His mitzvahs and laws. To hear His voice. And what's God going to do? השם האמרך היום. And God is going to elevate you. To be His special, unique people. כאשר דיבר לך ולשמור כל מצוותיו. ולתתך עליון, puts you on top of everybody. לשם ולתפארת, for glory, because you are a holy nation to God, your Lord. So let us all wake up and say thank you to God about everything He gave us. And if we did some wrongs, now is the time to fix it. We don't have to, let's say, get frightened, how are we going to do it? Because God now helps us. And He wants us to realize, first of all, that whatever we've got, it's God giving us. We didn't do anything. And say thank you to God about what it gave us. And be happy to go in the right way, even if there are some difficulties. Because what's waiting for us is an unbelievable world of loving, of together with God, to be elevated to the highest level we can. V'samachta. So let's be happy. All the best and a good week.